Okay, YouTubers, welcome to hopefully an eye-opening and interesting video. I will talk about the Philippines and the love and hate relationship that foreigners have to this country. So I'm talking from my perspective as a Norwegian, as a European, as a Protestant Christian, but I think many of my views will also be reflected in people from United States. So coming on a holiday to the Philippines and staying here for 1 month or so can be very exciting, like in most countries. Even I remember first time I was in Romania. I was there in a holiday for 2 weeks in 1989 during the communist time actually. And later on also we came there, like we stayed there maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, and it was very interesting. But after a while, when you are living for a longer time in the country, you will see the ups and downs. So now in the Philippines, for the last 1.5 years, as you know, it has been very hard lockdowns, and since December 2020, I think it was, we even had to use a face shield. I think I have some face shield here, but yeah, just a moment. So in the beginning it was very lousy face shield, but they always fall off or get destroyed. So basically I ended up buying something like this, but it will still get very scratchy, and I promise you tons of plastic and pollution is the result of this thing. And I thought we're gonna get rid of the mask, but no. You need to keep the mask, and then you need to put a face shield on top of that. Now I have seen some footage from India, so I guess that there have also been mandates for face shields in other countries, but basically most scientists would say that it's just bullshit. It's no need to have a face shield when you're walking out in the street, in the market, even in a mall. No need. Even the mask mandates are just ridiculous in my mind. And staying home, and you have to have a QR code to go to a mall, to go to a shop. And now all these mandates, you have to have vaccination, you have to have proof of vaccination or COVID test. You know, for us as Norwegians, we are quite, we are actually observing and obeying our government usually most of the time, because that is in our traditions, while Americans, they are very rebellious against the government. So Norway is more like a tribe, you know. The Norwegians, even the Swedes, and the Danes, they are part of the old Nordic tribe. So there is a tribe mentality which make us trust more maybe in the politicians, but what we always like is to have a good reason for what is going on, you know. And when they take your freedom from you for any reason, it should be a really good reason. It's like a martial law, you know, and this has been more than a martial law. And so, but even before all these things happen, there has always been people coming from a totally different culture and coming to settle down in Thailand or Indonesia or Philippines, coming from the other side of the world, maybe from Australia, from Europe, US, you name it. And to come to a totally different country, you will have some phases of love, and you will have some phases probably of hate. So what is very amazing about the Philippines is the people here are genuinely friendly, very friendly, and very talkative. And very brave, you know, to make contact. While in Norway, you would never talk to a stranger unless you have a very good reason, like you want to ask for a direction or something like that. But usually, you will never talk to a stranger on the street or even in the bus. It's very rare in Norway. And if you're in a lift, an elevator in Norway, ooh, it will be so quiet. Everybody will like this. Similar in England, you see the Mr. Bean movies, so you can see how we are a bit stiff and not so easy to socialize with. But once you know us, it's a very different story, of course. So now, anyway, what you can basically do in Norway, usually you can trust the government, and you can trust the police, you can trust the officials, you can trust your neighbors, you can trust people in our society. So when you come here to the Philippines and you experience sometimes I have friends who are white guys like me, who have experienced like racism against the white. So because you are white, of course I see this also all the time, but that is from the people, like poor people, beggars, kids, etc. When they see me, they automatically assume that I am very rich and that I really need to get rid of some of my money, and they are so happy to tell me that they really want my money. And then you have if you drive in the car or you do something, you break the law, like in Davao City, for example. My friend Francois Williams, he broke the law by going out on the wrong day during the lockdowns, and he himself claimed that he didn't know because it was so hard for him to get internet at the time, so he was not updated about that you are allowed to go out on this and this day if you have this and this code, what do you call that one? We had some card. It's actually hanging right here in the, like you need to have a card for you to be able to walk outside and to go to a shop or whatever. And so anyway, he got a lot of problem with police, and he had to pay a very big fine. He was very upset with this stuff, and liquor ban and all kind of stuff that destroyed his business. And of course, lockdowns. You have a restaurant business like he had. It's really destroying your business, right? So that is, of course, this has been accumulated for a long time. Francois, when he came here several years ago, he was so in love with the Philippines and especially Mindanao. So he made many videos about it. We have also many bloggers all around the Philippines that I follow them from time to time, and most of them are very happy about it. But now recently I saw this guy who is, every man has a story, and he basically experienced these lockdowns, more and more strict, all kind of restrictions, and then there was this big typhoon coming, and it really was the straw that broke the back of the camel, so to speak. So suddenly he realized, many roads are blocked. He lives outside Dumaguete, but his area, at least his house, was not really damaged by the typhoon, but they have problems with electricity, power lines have fallen down, they have problems with internet, and he was very frustrated because he spent like 2 hours before he could get money out from an ATM. Just like a comment, I was living in the province in Don Marcelino, in the village there, for quite a while, more than 1 year, when I first moved here to Mindanao. And to get to the nearest ATM, I had to drive for like 55-60 minutes on a motorcycle. In the beginning, I didn't have a motorcycle for the first few months, and there was no taxi, there was no motorcycle taxi available. Almost nobody could. There was no bus. Very, very, very difficult. So just to get down to the town center, I would have to to get there somehow. And if I would walk, it would be like 9 to 10 kilometers. But of course, I never walked that distance. But you see, I was really stuck. I was really depending upon somebody would rent me the motorcycle, etc. And then when I finally got myself a motorcycle, of course, things got much easier. But then I would drive to the nearest ATM, which is in Malita. And when I come to Malita, after driving like 1 hour roughly, usually it will happen that the ATM says, we have Visa, we have this and that. But when you put your Visa card, they say your card is not valid or something like that. And it happens all the time. And then it says they are offline, and they say you don't have any money in your account. Even I just got my pension, so I know I have a lot of money in the account. So what are you gonna do then? So I just had to drive up to Digos. So now we're talking about 1 hour to get to Malita, and when I couldn't get out cash there, I just have to continue to Digos, and Digos is like 1.5 hours north of Malita. So now we are talking about 2.5 hours one way just to get out cash, you see. And then usually I will get money here in Digos, and then so it's 2.5 hours return just to get out cash from an ATM. I found one solution to the problem when it was very desperate. Because I have an online Western Union account for many years, and I have a Visa card. So what I did, I tried to send money to myself, but they wouldn't allow it. So I sent money to my partner via the Visa, and then we could get that out locally in Malita. So we didn't have to go all the way up to Digos. So anyway, there's always some problems and brownouts, as they call it here. I call it blackouts. We almost never have that in Norway, but it's just like electricity is gone. In Digos, where I live, it's very rare actually. Maybe once a month we have a blackout for maybe half an hour, maybe a couple of hours in the nighttime, but usually it's no problem here. So living in the Philippines is a lot about, of course, where you choose to stay. So this guy here who says every man has a story, he lives in Dumaguete. I have never been to Dumaguete, but as I understand, it's a nice place for white guys, for Canos, for Europeans to come there. As I understand, you can find a lot of nice rooms and houses fully furnished for very reasonable price, good internet, a lot of restaurants and nice beach walk and so forth. So it's usually a very tourist-friendly area, as I have understood. But now he says, okay, I got married already with my Filipina, and we are anticipating that for a long time there will still be surprises with lockdowns and restrictions, and there will be a lot of noise from the chainsaws cutting all the trees around here, and the internet is gonna be unstable for a long time, the electricity, etc., etc. So he made a video recently that he's planning to move away from the Philippines because he's looking for quality of life. And I really understand him. I experienced on several occasions, like before, I have a wife from Cebu, from Mactan Island, and she was interrogated in Manila airport so long that she lost a flight to Bangkok to meet me in Thailand. So the money was gone. And then I was here I found the girlfriend here in Davao in 2016, and I wanted to bring her to Indonesia, to Bali, and then to Thailand because I rented a condo in Thailand, very nice condo, fully furnished for only 1,000 Norwegian kroner, which today will be maybe 5,500 pesos. Nice apartment, fully furnished, even with towels, with kitchenware, everything you can imagine, ref, freezer, hot water shower, balcony, pool downstairs. So Thailand has so many things to offer for a very good price. So I wanted to bring her with me to Thailand. So I got her a passport, and I got tickets to Singapore, from Cebu to Singapore. We flew up to Cebu, and I had made the reservation for the hotel in Singapore, and then flight back over to Indonesia, and a return flight to the Philippines, because that is what they require after 2 months. Now, she was stopped there by the immigration, but the immigration officer didn't ask me one question. She didn't ask me one question. She didn't want me to show the tickets or anything, to explain anything. She just pretended to Marilu, as my girlfriend at the time was called. She said, this guy is probably a human trafficker. Wow, can you imagine? And why can't he live in the Philippines if he wants to get to know you? Because we had known each other for roughly 1 month. But my point is, I don't want to live in the Philippines, because here it's, unlike in Thailand or Bali, it's hard to find an affordable short-time rental. If I go to Thailand, I can easily find for 1 month, I can easily find a hotel room or an apartment fully furnished for a very decent price. So my idea was to bring her to Bali and then back to my condo in Thailand. And so we would get to know each other, Instead of staying in a hotel and spending a lot of money in the Philippines, I wanted to get out from here. And no, they refused her to go. Because they say, you have known each other for too short time, and this is maybe... I got very mad. They can get my name, they can look up they have databases, right, where they can show and see if my name appears there among human traffickers, etc. Oh, I'm a teacher, certified teacher from Norway. Why would I get into human trafficking? Are you crazy? So I understood that this is just corruption and bullshit and jealousy. Even so online that I know this thing is going on all the time, also in Manila, especially in Manila. And they are doing it also in cooperation with airplane companies, so that the airplane company will double book some flights, and then they will tell the staff in the immigration, the police, that, okay, it's better if you keep 10 guys back from flying, because we have overbooked 10 seats, you see. And then they say, I saw some discussion on the internet about it several years ago, and they say, you have to give them, the price is 28,000 pesos. That's what you have to give in the pocket of the police officer for them to allow you to travel. So just this mentality that even you have a passport and you have fulfilled all requirements to leave the country, but still they love to stop you and destroy your life, destroy your plans. And so I just had to dump that girl there in Cebu. I gave her a couple of thousand Norwegian kroners, and I also supported her later on. And I had to dump her in Cebu because I didn't have money to remain in the Philippines. I already have booked my flights, my hotel in Singapore, Indonesia, and so forth. So I just had to leave her. It's terrible. And I was so mad with that female police immigration lady there in Cebu. I shouted at her. I said, what is wrong with you guys? You don't own these people. They are not your cattle. Where are the human rights? Where is the travel of freedom, etc.? So you can imagine how strange it is for... And I at that time, I said, I will never come back to this country. I shouted to her. But then a friend of mine, he offered me the ticket to come with him. I was living in Thailand at the time, and he paid my trip. We went to the Philippines because he wanted to. Tried to find some girl he was dating online, and then I met with my current partner, and I had met her already back in 2016, but anyway, we got to know each other, and I made the sacrifice to move to the Philippines, even if it cost much more. For what I paid for a condo, nice condo in Pattaya, in Jomtien, in Thailand, 5,500 pesos. In Davao City, I would get this house in the slum with no furniture, with no nothing. A house in the slum, just one big room or a couple of big rooms. I looked at the houses. Oh, terrible. So, but then I just decided, okay, I'm gonna stay in the village with her, and because I have been quite low, on a very low budget, and it happened after I moved to Asia that they decided to take a lot of money from me and give to my ex-wife. But finally that is over since a few months, so now I have a normal pension. Anyway, my pension is very small, being a Norwegian, but I have the lowest pension, but it's okay to live here. So what do we have to do here is if you try to find a condo here, with furniture, like I was looking around, you usually would have to pay like 1 year's rent up front, or at least you must make a contract for 1 year and so forth, and it's really costly. Here in Davao City, if we wanted an apartment with a 1 bedroom in a decent place, they have swimming pool, yes, it's a nice place, we had to pay, I think it was like 24,000 pesos a month. While in Thailand, I could get a similar thing for 12,000 pesos a month, you see? So, yeah. Anyway, the thing is that, yes, the Filipinos are somehow trapped by their government. The government treat them like property, like cattle. And that is the very big difference between, for example, France, Norway, United States, etc., is that we have a very strong traditions for freedom, for individualism. And so the question is what you're going to do. If you invest too much in the Philippines, then you are kind of stuck here. I have a boy here, he's going to be 4 years old soon. And I don't see that it will be good for us to go to Thailand anymore, because Thailand has also had very bad lockdowns, and they're not really tourist friendly. The immigration here in Davao City, they are very friendly, very professional. I never had any problem with them. So if you had problems with that kind of officer, so maybe you should try to locate to another place. But really, Francois, for example, he's now in South Africa with his Filipino wife, Angel. And he has been living for, I think, like 27 years in Taiwan, in China, Cambodia, some time in Thailand, and some years here in the Philippines. But he got so tired of this mentality that they are, ruling the people. The people are not given real freedom. So he was so tired of all this stuff. So when he went back now to South Africa, he's very happy because he's back in his own country. So if you are watching this, Francois, good luck. Thank you for the time we spent together here in the Philippines. And maybe one day I will come and visit you.